Hi, my name's Rachel. Welcome to this book review. Today I'm reviewing Proxy by Alex London. Yeah, I read this book 2 or 3 days ago. I really enjoyed it. I read it all in one sitting, like into the night. It didn't take very long, a couple of hours at least. Yeah, and I really thought it was very interesting and gripping, and it was fast paced, and it was a really good dystopian read. Basically it's about two boys, one called Sid and one called Knox, and Sid is of a lower class. He is tied to Knox as a proxy, which basically means that whenever Knox does something wrong, then Sid is the one that takes the fall for it. And Sid is the one that's punished if Knox breaks the law, which he does quite often. So yeah, and Sid has a certain amount of time he has to do as the proxy before he's paid off his debts, and then he's free. So basically he has 2 years to go by the start of this novel, but then Knox kills someone in a car crash. Accidentally, but he still kills someone. And basically Sid's hopes of freedom go out the window, and he's sentenced to years and years in prison, and he knows that the particular prison he's being sent to, he probably won't come out of it alive. And so him and Knox and a couple of other people go on the run to try and get to a place where this isn't the case, and they can be happier and live a free life. I really enjoyed this book. I thought it was very gripping, and I felt that the characters were interesting and different from each other. Like, I really liked the contrasting points of view within the group that went travelling, and the fact that you agreed with some people and also with other people, even though their views were so very, very different. I thought that the dystopian world was built fantastically well, through the kind of the culture you saw through Sid and Knox, and the contrasts between their two worlds that they basically live in. And I felt that it was built the way through language and through the school system that Sid is in, and yeah, I thought that yeah, I think that one of the main things I liked was that Sid's sexuality was handled really well, and his the way he's treated, or not, obviously not perfectly because there's still some prejudice around, it was handled really nicely, and he's quite comfortable in his sexuality, and it wasn't used as a kind of a shock factor, which I hate in any book really. I felt I would have liked a little bit more kind of lull after each big event, because there were so many things that happened one after the other as they're kind of travelling, that it would have been nice for some like reflection straight afterwards, because you don't really get that, you just move straight on, which I felt took away from the big events a little bit, and it gets a bit confusing now and again, and I would have liked a bit more, yeah, kind of like reflection on what's happened, and a bit more kind of character to character talking that wasn't within the midst of the action. Yeah, overall 4 out of 5 stars, really enjoyed it. Thought it was a very strong first book, and I'm really looking forward to reading the second one called Guardian, I think, and I'm planning on picking it up as soon as I can, basically. Right, so I'm going into some spoilers now and discuss more of the characters and plot points in depth. Right, I think my favourite character was probably Sid, because I felt like I related to him most. However, I did really love Egan and Marie, and the contrast they provided within the group, because obviously Marie is so set on helping the proxies, and she thinks she knows what's best, when really she doesn't, obviously, because she's lived such a privileged life, but you kind of appreciate the fact that she's trying, whereas Egan really kind of hates that, and he feels he doesn't trust Knox or Marie because he's Sid's best friend, and he is quite possessive of that, and he does not trust them at all, and I feel like he just feels that they're they're so they're trying to come in and try and help them when actually they don't need help, you know, or they don't need like the protection of someone who's the privileged people to come and help them combat their own struggles, which, to be honest, is a fair point of view to have. I really liked Sid and Nox's kind of relationship and the way that developed. Obviously, I would have liked it to have lasted a little longer. I'm assuming you guys have read the book, so Nox's death was really hard for me, and crying at 3 AM wasn't really what I had in mind for this book, because I didn't see it coming. I was like, no, he's not gonna die. He's not gonna die. He's not gonna die. He died, and that was the kind of death scene that I really don't think is coming back. And I've read I don't think he's coming back. That's the kind of death scene where you don't really feel like he can come back because everyone was there, and you know his dead body is obviously there as well, and there's not really any coming back from that. I knew the blood transfusion was gonna come in soon. I knew it was gonna mean something, and I really liked that kind of Sid he's quite humble. He works really hard to get what he wants, and the fact that he's facing prison for working so hard to get that that bit was really sad, I felt. Even though he was just like when we just first met them, really. I felt really sad about it because he was obvious how hard he'd worked to get where he was, and he couldn't really, there was nothing else he can do because he was stuck in the situation, and running away was literally the only option. I also liked Nox's reason for it, because I didn't see Marie being alive as a plot. That threw me a bit, actually. And you just kind of really hate Nox's father just because he's so, how can you do that to your son, really? And I didn't really like Nox at the beginning, but once we started getting to know more about him, you start to really like him, and his attachment to Sid is kind of adorable because he doesn't really know what he's doing. He's trying very hard, and yeah, he tries very hard. And I liked the way that Nox's and Sid's abilities kind of fitted together quite well, whereas Sid does all the kind of the mechanical bits of the drones and stuff. The droids, I can't remember, but the robots. Whereas Nox does more of the software, which I really liked because they can work together quite well. Yeah, I really liked Marie. I really liked Marie because I felt like she gave quite a different insight, and her attachment to her own Proxy I felt was justified, you know, because it's hard to know that someone's being kind of punished for you, where it's just, yeah, and the fact that she literally kind of faked her own death in order to save the life of someone she basically never met and had always been taught that was below her, I felt really kind of attributed something to her character. And there were lots of plot points, the plot twist that just kind of threw me. Egan's death really hit me quite hard, actually. I didn't think it would, but Sid and Egan being best friends and them looking out for each other, especially Egan after Sid, because Egan's a lot more, well, Sid was a lot less, I felt like Sid was more kind of, I don't know how to say it, kind of gentle, whereas Egan was more hard-edged, and the fact that he got himself into trouble with the gang and kind of criminal activity just to help Sid was, I really enjoyed that part of him, because their friendship at the beginning you feel like it's more one-sided because Sid really is really attached to Egan, whereas Egan has other friends. The part of the beginning with Atticus I felt was that really was quite sad, and the fact that, yeah, but I liked the way that Sid's sexuality was handled, and it was done obviously very respectfully, and that he is comfortable in it despite there being obviously outside prejudice. He is happy within himself, which I always like, because okay, another thing I liked was that the romance, well, it wasn't really a romance, it was more of a kind of the attraction between Nox and Sid felt quite natural, and it was came very easily to both of them, and it fit well with their characters. But I also felt it didn't override the rest of the plot, because it was kind of a background noise rather than the main kind of main tune, if I'm going to keep going with that metaphor. Yeah, there was so much, and I just really liked the way they interacted, and the kiss at the end was really, really emotional. It made me really upset, kind of. But I also liked, obviously, the kiss at the start was great. That's always a fun plot point. That's always a fun thing to have, you know. The kiss for distraction. That's great. Yeah, I really liked kind of the secondary characters as well. I felt they were quite well done, with the guy on the guy whose name I cannot remember, the one who took them with the children. I thought he was really interesting. I liked the bit at the end with all the new characters and the people they met along the way. I also liked Marie's relationship with the horse. Well, that was really cute. I liked that, because obviously there aren't many animals really in the big city. However, I would have liked at the end kind of more clarity of what was going on. I felt the end was a bit rushed and lots of things happened in a very short space of time, and I would have liked kind of a bit more character on character kind of bonding time throughout, but mainly towards the end, where when they got to the place and Sid reacting to Egan's death more, and Sid and Nox figuring out kind of not completely what their feelings were, but having more clarity on what that was. And I would have liked some more in-depth stuff with Marie. Yeah, I felt I can't really see where the next book's going to go. Well, I can to an extent, but I feel like there's some things that there's so many different ways it can go from now, because they kind of sorted out the big problem of this book, that I'm looking forward to seeing where it's going, because I think there'll be lots of new characters introduced and fun things to see, you know. I think the next book's going to be really interesting. I think it's a duology rather than a trilogy, so the next book will be the second and final book. Yeah, well anyway, that's it for today. I should be uploading another book review soon. I hope you liked it. Thank you.